Well, hi to everybody out there from me and Zolt, who's doing the filming today. You can probably tell already that it's going to be slightty different. We're not on a commercial because I've got my chesties on already. I've actually been in the peg that I fancied fishing on this stretch of the River Avon just outside of Tewkesbury. Who knows what's going to happen, but we've decided to come on the river to give everybody out there an insight of hopefully catching quality fish. I've been told there's a lot of bream in this area, there's a lot of skimmers, there's also carp and God knows what else. So hopefully we'll just hook bream and some other big fish. But this is what this video is going to be about. It's going to be catching quality. The conditions ain't great, but hopefully with the depth of water, and there's also, which when I actually drove along, I was looking for how much flow there is, and luckily this river has got a little bit of flow on it today, because I think that we've had a little bit of rain over the last week or so. It's gone in the river. There's a tiny little tinge. You can still see probably 4 foot down, because it is that sort of river, the River Avon. It goes very clear, but the fish are used to it. I'm hoping that we can, you know, catch some small fish as well, but mainly we're going to be fishing for quality. Now, I'm going to be sat out in the water because, like I said, I've already been out to see how far I can get out into the river. So I'm going to need a platform to sit on, and we'll talk through that as we go. But the most important part of the day is the ground bait, and I'm obviously going to put some soil in because the river's got a bit of flow, and we need to get it down to the bottom where we're hopefully catching some big fish. So I've got all my kit down there. It looks like a bomb's at the moment. Let's get down there and mix the ground bait up, because like I said, that is going to be really important today. The ground bait now I've literally dumped my gear on the side of the river, and I want to mix my ground bait. Now, you could do this the night before, but I do like it having as fresh as possible. And I'm also putting a little bit of soil in. Getting here this morning, there's actually quite a bit of flow on it, which is really nice. And as soon as I got out of the van, the first thing I look for is what colour it is, the river, and also the flow. Now, straight away, I'm thinking I need to put a bit of soil in. Now, like I've said to me on previous stuff I've done for Preston, if you do go along the main road, be careful. If you see some molehill, some nice dark molehill like that, stop and get it and put it in your garage. Now, that's really dried out because I've had it in my garage for absolutely months and months. I've actually got this on the way back from a Riddens fishing match up in Coventry area. So it's worth having. So if you do go on the river quite a bit, get yourself some molehill or topsoil or something like that. Now, obviously I need to put this through a riddle, so I'm going to do that nice and quick. I'm going to mix up 3 kilos of ground bait, and I'm going to put 3 pints of soil in and see how it looks. The first thing I'm going to do is just put that through a riddle like that. So you've got stones and stuff like that. Let's get rid of that on the bank. I'm going to put a little bit more in because I probably took half a pint of that out. Let's put a little bit more in. Don't worry about it. If it's a bit lumpy, don't worry. So that's that riddled off, really nice now. And in there, I've actually forgot to bring my drill today, so I'm going to have to put this in a big bucket and mix it up by hand. Old school. So I've got 3 different ground baits because we are fishing, or trying to catch today, fingers crossed, some quality fish. So I'm going to put a bag of deep water in. This is quite sticky, so let's get a bag of that in. It's got a few nice particles. It smells absolutely beautiful. One of the nice sort of ground baits we all use now on naturals is sweet skimmer. This outpowers anything. You can put F1 in it, you can put whatever you want in it, and the smell of that will outpower everything you put in. Again, quite sticky as well, which is what I want. And I'm also going to put some bream in, because there's bream in this area. And that's what I'm aiming to catch, quality fish. Hopefully we will catch a bream or two. You never know, it could be absolutely brilliant, it could be terrible. But anyway, that's what we're doing. So I got Sonia Mate So Natural bream. Now this has obviously got more particles in. Smells a little bit like sweet skimmer. I would say it's more like a sweet skimmer with bigger particles in. Let's get that in. So we've got quite a bit, because I'm going to put some bait in. I'm not messing around. So 3 kilos of ground bait. I can add a few pellets and that in it if I want. Now the first thing I'm going to do is get myself a 40-litre bucket. Let's not mess about. It's a lot easier to work with. Obviously if I had my drill, and Zolt's forgot his, so we're both to blame for that. Now that looks absolutely lovely, that. And that I can always add, once I've mixed that, I can add a little bit more soil if I want to. So let's start off with a bit of river water. Let's stick like three pints in that. Get it going. Without that soil, you won't quite get that weight that you need on a river like I'm fishing today. If it was really slow, you know, no flow at all, I might only add just a fraction of soil. But straight away, mixing that, I can feel that that's going to be heavy. That's lovely, actually. That's a damn good mix. Let's get a little bit more in there. Just go a bit careful, because that soil, if you overcook it, you could mess it up. But having that big bucket like that makes a huge difference. And that deep water and that soil, when you looked at sweet skimmer and the bream, it's quite a light mix. But when you add that topsoil in, or molehill, look at that colour. I think it's absolutely bang on today. If I chuck a ball down there and Zolt film it, it's quite inert as well, because I haven't put black roach in it. You know, put another ball in. See how heavy that is? Straight down, not a lot coming off of it. I think it's absolutely. So what I'm going to do now is get on setting up, come back to that. I think you could probably make that out in there. It's just a nice mix at the moment. That's how I'm going to want it, but I think that's going to dry out. So, you know, 3 litres of ground bait, you could probably get away with 2 bags of ground bait and 3 pints of soil. But I've always, like fishing for England and stuff, you always come up with a, you know, after fishing with like them guys and fishing for England for like years and years, that's all pinned into your head, and then we'll see pass this information on. But at the moment, that's a proper heavy mix having that soil in. And what I'm going to do now is set up my platform. That's ready to go, and then we don't have to mess around. So let's get on and set everything else up. I've got all my little components there that I'm going to be putting in. I've decided to ball it, and I'm going to ball it quite aggressively. Now that's the ground bait obviously we mixed up at the start. I've adjusted that slightly. It smells absolutely, honestly, that sweet skimmer and that bream, it overpowers everything. It's got some nice particles in it. Obviously we are fishing for quality fish today. If I was fishing for more roachy, I'd put black roach in and probably put a lot more hemp in. But because we're fishing for quality fish, obviously just going about it slightly different. Now, like I said, I have adjusted that a bit. It's crumbly, but still heavy, which I think I can make a ball out of that. It's not stodgy. I've gone away from like being stodgy ground bait. I think I want to try and make a bed over the bottom so these bream move in on it. Now, I've got another bucket next door, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sort of big 2-handers. That gives me a little bit of ground bait left for topping up. I would say that is 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 litres of ground bait. So it's a nice amount of bait. Now in there, I'm going to put some 2mm fins. Let's mix them around, see what it looks like. A few more. Something you wouldn't never do years ago was put pellets in your mix, but a lot of waters now, no matter whether it's natural reservoirs such as Tamar, is becoming just a normal thing now to put pellets in. And then I've got me little bit of chopworm. I'm not going to put all that in. I'm going to hold some of this back, so if I want to top up through the pot with rich balls, I can do. I'm not going to put tons of particles in. I just want to make a bed, and if I want to, I can top up over the top with the pot, a ball, plenty of particles in it, so then bream, touch wood, come over. Now I've got in there a mixture of casters and dead maggots that I've brought back from my side tray. I'm going to stick all that in. It's probably about 300 ml of mixed maggots and casters. Give that a good mix around, make sure it's all the way through the ground bait, and then I'm literally going, get that all mixed around nice, get the butter. Don't mess about, don't worry about it too much. Now I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Look at that. Not tons of particles, but I think enough for today, and I can top up if I want. So I'm just going to mix them up now. Get out there. I've got my pole sort of in the rest, ready to go. They're nice and heavy with that bit of soil in. Never forget that. Especially when you're fishing on the pole. On a feeder, you might not want to put any soil in at all. And you can always mix a couple soft, not so hard, and a couple rock hard. You know, it's entirely up to you. I want to make sure these get to the bottom and in that flow. Not sure how many balls I'm going to end up with here. That's 1, 2, 3. Whoa, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I reckon we're going to have about 11 or 12 balls, which I think is going to be absolutely ideal. If you get to the bottom and you've got a bit left, just add a little bit more in there just to make that last ball. Big jaffas. It's nothing better, is it? Brings back, I love this sort of fishing, I really do. I couldn't wait to get out of bed. So there you go. That's what we've got all done in there. Right up Zolt Street, this. World Championship style fishing, don't get better. A few particles, let's get out there and get this in. I can't wait. Ready to go now. Got me landing net, 4 metre landing net handle today, because I am sat back a little bit in this sort of cattle drink peg. I've got all my ground bait ready to go in now. I'm just going to get on my platform. Now, this honestly, like I said to you about these platforms, just get like that, get your back foot on there, be confident, get on it like that. I always try and leave a gap on this side so you can like swing your legs round. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is, when I was plumbing up, we'll talk about plumbing up and that as well when we get going, and also talk about the rigs. We're talking, I reckon it's probably 11 foot deep, which is nice. But I've got me pole pot on this pole today. This is a Superior carp. Now, I've got my pole rest set up, and on the seat I've got the pole support. Now I can set this up like that. You can have this up like that if you want it. Now that really, I'm fishing slightly downstream, so the river today is running right to left as I look at it, and then you want to vary that. But what I want to be doing is dropping my rig in front of me and letting it run over the ground bait. I'm not sure what these fish are going to do today. They might be slightly above the ground bait. Big fish normally are sort of on it, but I don't want to be upstream. I want to be downstream, so I'm putting my rig in, my rig settles, and it's running above and over my bait. So I'm aiming to go about where it is now. I would say that on a clock face, about 11 o'clock-ish, something like that, sort of 10:30 to 11. Don't be afraid. It might look crazy when you're chucking downstream, but honestly, what you've got to go really careful of on rivers is the fish don't go above your ground bait, because a lot of occasions I've been fishing rivers, all the quality fish have been like a metre above my ground bait, and you think, well, there's nothing there. It's just where they want to sit. I think you get some feeding on the ground bait and they move up and they just sit above it. It's ever so weird, but that's what river fishing's like. That's the sort of things you learn. So I'm just going to move that round, just going to adjust that a little bit like that. Now this is where you've got to be confident of your kit, of your gear. Ball it, be positive. I've got everything ready now, so I'm going to stand up like that. I know everything's rock solid, because it is somewhat new for a lot of people fishing rivers. And then I've got my big balls of ground bait that have been out for a little while now. They dried out a bit, but don't worry. And I'm going to throw this approximately just slightly short of my pot. So let's get them out. Too short, but don't worry about it. A little bit short again. That's where I want them going in, about there. You can feel them going in like rock solid. Beautiful. This is a bit of a wake-up call if there's anything in the area. It's like the tax man coming on the front door. So you can probably see that from the camera. There's not a lot coming off of them. There's no sort of cloud. Beautiful, that. I've got my distance now. Absolutely superb. So there you go, 12 balls in like that. You know, it's going to take a bit of time. Sometimes they're on it and sometimes you've got to wait. But we'll never know. You never know from one day to the next. It is a top kit and 2. So this is a sort of thing where you might have to get a few spare sections. Any of us that go on rivers and that, you expect that. And I'm going to start on a 2 gram power as it comes off the rig. I'm not messing around too much. I've got a 14 N10 on, and I'm going to start good old faithful double maggot, and then let's see what happens. If I was fishing for roach, I'm not messing about. I've got 11 Dura slip in there because I am fishing for quality. That's what this video is about, is catching quality fish on the river. Now, you could obviously come here and fish a feeder, but there's nothing better than catching big fish on the pole, let me tell you. And I can always up. I've got 016 mainline on there. I can always up that to 014 hook lengths. Oh yeah, it's got a lovely bit of flow, that. Quite windy, but at least it's upstream, which is going to help me massively. I've probably got about 1 metre of line between the float and the pole tip at the moment, and I can reduce that. Oh, there's a bite straight away. Probably a little fish, but at least I've had an indication. And that was right where that ground bait went in. Definitely little fish there straight away, which is good news. And hopefully some big fish will move in as we go along. You never know. But it's got a lovely bit of pace, that. There we go. Maybe might have to change the elastic. Was a little fish, that. I've got a tin of corn out as well, just in case. I'm only fishing a true 13 metres. I'm not going out. It's very hard to start a fish 14.5 metres. That's where you want a cart pole like this. It's nice and strong, so you can strike nice and hard. Well, got my first little fish, little pommy. That's a good sign. I'll tell you now, when you catch pommies, I always like catching pommies. You always think you can get some quality fish out your peg. So double dead maggot, I don't mind catching them. The gear's a little bit over the top for them, 14 hook and 11 Dura, but I can't risk fishing light where I've been told there is some light bream and big fish around this area. So, you know, it's one of them. If it does just become like a silverfish day, I could always go down to like a 6 original slip, but that's going to be certainly not at the moment. So I'm just dropping that down, holding on to it, because I have snagged up a couple of times. So holding on. 2 grams is lovely. So try and hold it on. So I know it deepens as we go down the peg a little bit. I mean, it might be a little bit of weed or something there. So I'm dropping that just about 2 foot above where I bored it. And then just holding on. Like I said, I've only just started, so I'm just trying to feel my way in. There you go, another little fish. Yay, another little pommy. Look at that. They're lovely little fish, them. I'll tell you now, in matches, they weigh. And they normally do feed when there's a tinge of colour on it, which this river has got a slight tinge. Obviously, where we've been walking about on the inside, we've coloured it up massively. It's not as coloured as what it probably looks on the camera. So it's nice to get a couple of bites within minutes of starting. So bulk, literally a foot to 18 inches above that ground bait, because I know if I come up any further, I am onto the shallower part of the peg. And just hold on to that quite tight. See that then? That was a bite. I'm not going to loose feed. Not at the moment. I'm just going to try and put everything down in balls of ground bait. Little fish again. And that might happen for a while. Do you know what I mean? I think if it dies completely, it's probably going to tell you there's some units about. It's going to try and hold on to it quite tight over that ground bait. There, look. That's where they are, right on it. Another smallish fish. Yay, little pommies. Brilliant. Absolutely love them fish. Like 3 ounces, I don't mind them. If we can catch them all day and maybe a couple of quality fish, there's a chance of a carp down here. There's a carp angler fishing up there, and yeah, I don't think we're going to have much chance of getting anything like that out. I did actually have a 10-pound carp once, 8 kilo. No, it's 16 pound. It's 17, 18 pound on the river years ago in a big team match. I got that on 014 Aki power. I thought it was a pike. So I'm fishing about half a float length over, so I might have to go a little bit further. I thought I'd just start half a float length. And it depends on the bottom of the river where you're fishing. Sometimes you can fish like a lot of lie on the bottom. If you're fishing on like a sandy, gravelly bottom sometimes. Hey, look at them. They would be superb on a number 6 elastic. Nice size fish though. Bear in mind we're fishing quite positive, 014 bottoms. If I do hook a big fish on here, we're going to know about it. I'll have to keep it out in the river a little bit because we've got some pads and stuff on the inside. Let's just hope we do. Let's hope we do hook a couple of big ones before the day's out. So I'm just lapping that over, letting it all go down. Like I said, a little bit above the ground bait, not a lot. And then try and get your presentation right. Wind's a bit of a pain, but I'd rather have it downstream and upstream any day of the week, because that helps massively. Well, we've been going for about an hour, and I've just hooked some. I don't know what it is. We've had some nice little pommies. I've been topping up quite regularly, obviously trying to get some quality fish. I ain't sure what this is. I ain't got a clue. I don't think it's massive, but it's the first quality. Oh yes, look at that. Oh yes. It's not one of the big breams, but let me tell you, to get one of them, I said to Zolt, I said we've had a couple of like 8-ounce pommies, and I lost something. Oh, look at that. That is absolutely pristine. And I'm just hoping now, keep topping up. I've got a piece of worm on, small dendra, and I caught that quite a way down. It's absolutely pooing the ground bait out. So whatever's come in our peg is absolutely eating everything. So what a great first quality fish. But I did say to Zolt, I said, I just fancy something's going to happen in a minute. Because I caught like 2 pommies like that. I think I did actually catch a skimmer, a proper silver bream at about 6 or 8 ounces. And then that float shot under. But before that, whilst we weren't filming, it sort of went down. The float shot under real quick. I hooked some up. The unfortunate thing is I've had a few snags, which has been a bit awkward. But I've pulled out a few bits of twigs and that, and it's actually settled down. So I'm hoping this is the turning point. And I did say, like, you want an hour, really. And that's brilliant. Good job I had a 4-metre handle as well then. Because I knew it wasn't a great big bream. But let's hope. I've topped up twice with 2 balls, with some chopped worm, a few 2mm pellets, and casters. Quite rich balls. You know, like I said, I am trying to catch the better quality fish. In hindsight, probably should have started off with a smaller, you know, like a 1.5 gram rig, fishing for everything. But for this video, I am trying to catch, well, decent fish on the river, which is what we always love. And on the pole as well. I mean, I could have quite easily chucked the feeder out, but I think there's nothing better than trying to catch them fish on the pole. And I'm holding back. I've got my pole tip in the water a little bit. And if Zolt can get the film right, you'll see I've got an angle in me float. I'm trying to hold on to it quite tight. But I did actually hook that fish quite a way down my peg. And that's quite nice because it's a bit cleaner down me peg. I've got, you know, I do hook the bottom now and again. I've only lost 1 hook length up to now. I'm just hoping that I can get my presentation right. Oh, there was a little indication then, see? Like, oh, look at that. I think that's the bottom, though. Yeah. Got to give it a good wacko, because if it's not, you know, drive that 14 home, you know what I mean? And that 11 drawer is going to help you with that anyway. So I'm just letting that run down again. Got a couple of boats going through at the moment. And I'm not going to give it long. I'm going to top up again with another 1 or 2 balls. Some chopped worm in it to try and fire these fish up. Because it isn't the, there's that snag. That's the only thing there. There's a snag there. There's a bit of rubbish on the bottom. At least I've actually got it off the bottom, whatever it is, a little twig or something. Yeah. It's just a pity about that. I've had like 5 or 6 of those little twigs. I'll have a couple more run throughs and I'll top up. So I'm not putting my olivet in upstream. I'm lowering it literally over my ground bait. I can't really do it above. And the fish don't seem to be above. They seem to be on it and below it today. So I'm trying to just put it, you know, sort of lower it in the sort of zone where you're getting all your bites. But the little fish seem to have, I am fishing with worms admittedly, but they seem to have shut up shop. So hopefully there's some quality moved in. Oh, I think that was a little fish then. The wind's a bit of a pain because it's actually just started turning around to my face a little bit. It's going to make it a bit more awkward. But at least it is still blowing upstream. There's been no fish top. Thought we was hoping to get a couple of bream top. But it is, you know, it is clear. The skies are really bright. Just got to try and concentrate, try and hold on to that as tight as I dare. So the bait's like literally slowing right down on the deck. Some days you can let it run quite fast for the quality fish, but other days, most of the time, you've got to slow it down, which is what I'm trying to do. With not helpful with this wind at the moment, admittedly. But anyway, we've had that one quality fish, which is good news. I don't mind, you know, running it through when you've got the chance of those big fish. You just don't know what you're going to hook next either. It could be a big chub, you just don't know. I'd love to catch a big chub. So I'm going to top up again now. Haven't got to be scared to top up either, especially when them big fish are about. I think if they were going to settle on that, over that balling line, I think you would have balled it in and caught, like, probably caught a couple within the first 15-20 minutes. That ain't been the case today. So I'm just going to put a bit of me remainder of the ground bait in there, a bit of chop worm, nice big handful of casters, a few of those micros, 2 mils, nice rich ball. Just put a few deads in. I'm trying to avoid. I'm just trying to fish with worms, trying to catch quality. Because if I put double red on, I do catch, but there's them little, those little hybrid-y things. So let's get them made up. Get me pot. Not loose feed. I don't want to loose feed. I just think I might, if I'm, it's always a bit of a gamble, but I'm just thinking I might just drag loads of little fish in me peg. If I wasn't getting nothing at all, I would have started loose feeding by now, but I have been catching those little pommies just to keep me ticking over, really. And I just hope that they switch on if they're here. There's obviously one here. So that pass down your peg a bit. Still just fishing like 3/4 of a float length over. Just check your pole. Oh, bugger off wind. That's where I caught him, about there, where the float is now. So it's quite a way down. And that seems to be the cleanest area of the peg, that. If I'd have known the peg, I might even have sort of gone down to my left and put my box in a few meters down. But when I plumbed up, to be fair, it felt really nice. But it did go slightly deeper as you go down. I do prefer it when it shallows up as you go down, as long as it's not too severe. So it means like all your bait is being dragged up against that shelf. I've fished lots of rivers over the years, and they always seem to be the best pegs, as long as it's not goes up really fast. It just feels, I don't know, just the feeling is there's a few decent fish in me peg now. Here we go. Perch, I think. Oh, I don't know actually. Go on, get it going. Oh, well, there you go. What timing that is. Literally, I said to Zolt, you're going to stop filming, and I've hooked another one. Oh, I don't know what that is. That's fighting. Don't know. That's what's so lush about river fishing, I've got to go a bit careful. I think it's one of those skim bobs again, big skimmers. Where is he? Come on. Oh, look at that. That is brilliant. They're really unusual as well to catch them that big on a river. They're normally them great big dark things. Come on, baby. Definitely don't want to lose it. So that was on that nice sort of get out of there. That has made my day. Just hope now they've rocked up. Look at that. Pound and a half, pound and 3/4. Perfectly hooked. 14N10. Just pre-tied. Straight off the sticks. That was never going to come out of there in a million years. So the second one within 10 minutes. After topping up as well. 2 balls. So I lost one of my hooks and I've just got one of the mag stick N10s. I'm just hooking the worm through its head. Piece about 2 inches long. Right, come on. This is where you've got to be full concentration. Getting that rig in the right place. Like that, straight down, follow him down, let it all go slack. You can see the float catch up then. And then start working. So I'm just dropping my tip in so it's like 4 or 6 inches under the water. And then letting that, you see the float, you see the angle of the float with the flow. I'm just trying to inch that through. That was about the pace I was letting that go through on that run. The bite was really aggressive though, real quick. You can just tell it's changed. I don't mind working hard for me fishing. Look at that, look, look, look. Ooh. I thought that was going to go then. Little indicator, I mean, it could have been a small fish, but oh, no wind. It's definitely that little spot. It's probably where that feed's all collecting. It's not that far down. It's too far down that really. Just bring that back up. I got a little spot opposite or some little clump of lily pads. I'll drop my Olivet in. Let all that catch up. Just hold it tight. Let it all go like so it all stretches out nice and then let it start running. And then hold back. I had that one about, I reckon about there, where the float is now. Oh, that was a real quick. I reckon that would have might have been a liner that. Don't know. It's just really quick. Too quick to be, unless it was a tiny, tiny little roach or something. Absolutely flew under. We'll try putting a little bit more line on the deck in a minute. Definitely not the best of run throughs that with that gusty wind then. One of the, you know, when you get into your river fishing, you know when you see the float go through smooth. You know, it doesn't always go under, but you think, oh yeah, that was perfect presentation that. Oh, it's a beautiful bit of presentation, but it wasn't a big one. It's a pommy. Lovely little chunky fish though. Well worth catching. Absolutely puking out the ground bait. So they're right on it. Probably fishing the wrong bait for them really. Probably caster, single caster, like double maggot or single maggot, but I am trying to get, I don't really, you know, I am trying to catch the proper fish that are about. But that was perfect presentation. Slowed it right down. It was right over the ground bait, that. Well, that didn't take long. Literally stopped filming. I come back, I put a red maggot on with a piece of worm. Next shot, I've got, now this feels a little bit bigger, this. I'm hoping it's one of them big, oh, that wind, come on. Gotta go careful with the pads and that. Oh, hello, where's that going then? Unbelievable, river bream, how they fight. I mean, I'm glad I fished that 11 Jura. If you'd have had a 6, which is one of my favourite elastics, I think you'd have a spot of trouble. If I'm out of shot, I'm sorry, but I don't want to lose that. Oh yeah, that's a beautiful fish, that. Oh, come on, don't go in the pads. No, look at that fighting like a carp. Yes, sirree, that's what we want, Zoltus. Oh, I love this river fishing. Look at that. If you've never done it, honestly, probably £4. Let me tell you something, I am in my element. I was panicking a bit, which I think you always do when you go on a river, but bad angling, nothing got me to scourge her out. Woo, 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 woo. So, worm in red maggot. Oh, I can't wait. It's going to get back in. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to top up. So I've got a 4 metre keep net. I think it's really important when you're fishing for these sort of fish on a river. Just give him a little bit of a shake. Make sure he swims off. That's him. Right, first thing I do.
Actually, that's 5 meters.
Oh, whatever. Zolt is just reminding me I'm using a 5 metre landing net handle, not a 4. So I'm really sorry about that, Zolt. So I'm going to get another ball. I'm just going to give him a little tap on the head like that. Tell him to keep his nose out of things. The problem is I got now is Zolt's going to want to come on here in a minute. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. And he's not, let me tell you. Oh, really? It's just gone 12 o'clock. So I'm going to do a bit more chop worm. Just going to put one ball in this time. Squeeze it like 4 or 5 times. You see that. Plenty of casters, bit of chop worm. A few 2 mils in there. About the size of the pot. It's just nice. Like, it's taken, like I said, in hindsight, I probably should have been fishing just off bottom for possibly an hour. And then gone down that deck. I have got another rig set. I've got a Kerry set up to try, just in case things weren't working out. But this is what this video's been about. It's being quite, you know, being nice and positive. Let's get that little baby dendra. So I've got a little baby dendra like that. Little stringy one. Like that. And then a single dead maggot over the, in front of him. Same as what you would do on a feeder. No different. And that presentation there was, oh, it was sweet, that. I think we might have to do a coaching and uncoachable on a river with Zolt. I'd have to have a, I think I'd have to book a holiday afterwards. Not really. So that's straight down. Like that. Let it all catch up. And then this is the bit you've got to concentrate. That tip today, under that water, is helping massively. And I'm trying to just let it sort of skim through enough, because I am fishing a little bit over depth. I'd like to be fishing more over depth, but I can't get it to go through. See, that's snagged up on the bottom a bit there. So just let that. I can't quite, with the peg as it is, I can't put any more line on the bottom really. It just won't go through at all. It just keeps going under. But obviously different pegs, you can do different things. Oh, I thought that was going to be one then. Little pommy. Look at them. Beautiful little fish. I'm not sure, Abby, whether they're not silver bream. I'm not sure. On the Trent and that, they got great big eyes. But they seem to be like a different sort of hybrid then. So I just changed the maggot on there. I didn't change the worm. The worm was still good. Perfect, that. So I'm actually lowering that in sort of 11:30. So it's literally right, by the time it gets down, it's like literally smack over my ground bait. Look at that. Oh, that was absolute beautiful, that, the way that was slowing down. Caught a fish. Oh, must have been bad presentation, that, as a perch. Yeah, some days you can go out and, you know, do this and you might catch some of the biggest weights of bream that you've ever caught in your life, and other days we might not get another one. But I think we're doing it justice with the conditions we're fishing in and what we're doing. I think's worked really well, and I'm just hoping that we carry on having a few. That's all you can ask for really on these, you know, 25 degrees today. Look at that, that's really nice. Them powers work amazingly on rivers. Especially with a bit of flow on it like it is today, and you want to hold back hard. That is the area there, where that float is now, is the area. 100%. Look at that, look, go on. There's probably a little pommy hanging on there then. It's nice to get that first one out, because that gives you the confidence that all the hard work of running your float through, you know, feeding. Once you get one, it gives you that confidence that, like, your presentation's good enough. Little fish. It's that one little area, like a metre, where them fish are just hanging out. It would be a lot easier on, you know, if you want to come and fish a feeder, it would be obviously a lot less hard work, if you like, but I think fishing a pole on the river or a float takes some beating, to be fair. I'm definitely going to put another couple of inches on just to see if I can run it through. Oh, I think that was a little fish. It's lovely when you hook one. You think straight away, you think, oh, is that a snag? And it goes like, dong. No, that's no snag. That's nice, that bit. That's the bit. Look at that, see? That is perfect. Not a big fish, but a decent fish. That one, that was right on. I think that's a skimmer. I'm worried sick that I'm going to lose one, because if you lose one, don't get another bite. Oh yeah, look at them. What a lovely fish to catch on the river, that. It's one a £30 pike coming up to eat that now. That is brilliant. All these things, you know, they swim around together. Do you reckon that's a skimmer or a hybrid Zolt? I think it is a skimmer, isn't it?
Skimmer.
Look at that on the river, on the Avon. Beautiful. Quite rare, I would say, to catch a skimmer like that on the Warwickshire Avon. So I'm just going to go. I'm going to run through a couple more times. Definitely that little red maggot on there as well. Just trying to get a little stringy dendra. Maggot. Simple shotting pattern. I've got my little bolt there. This is literally straight off the winder from the pre-tide. So there's no excuses nowadays. So I've got 2 number 8 droppers. I've got 3 number 8s below the Olivet and 1 above. And it's simple as that. It's probably the Olivet is, I would say, 2 foot from the hook, just over. 2 gram power float. Like I said, and then I think the line I've got between my float and my elastic is about right. Probably about 3 foot. I probably could get away with a little bit less. And a lot of people, I think, when they go on rivers, sometimes they fish too long a line. Depends what you're fishing for and the conditions. But when you're fishing like I am, you don't want a real long line. You want to be in control of your float, and also when you strike. That's where that fish was. That fish was literally where that ball went in. Well, I topped up. There's no point spending too much time down your peg if every bite is coming basically where you're topping up. Right, let's top up again. I'll put a few more micros in this time. And then we'll get back and let you know, update in a bit. So a few more 2 mils in there. Not seen nothing top though. Definitely a bit of a strange old day, I think. Probably some rainwater gone in. I'm going to put 2 balls in again. As I said, you know, hold back on your particles, so when you do top up, you've got plenty of particles to top up with. And I think that's probably more important than that initial ball in with loads of particles in. Because if it is a day, I think it's pretty obvious now that topping up is an absolute must. I think if I'd have just balled it, I think you could have run a float through, and I don't think you'd have struggled to get a bonus fish. Nice to have that little dolly butt on the end of the pole as well, especially when you're striking hard on a river. Certainly get your muscles flexed out a bit. Don't need loads of gear either. A couple of rigs. Right, let's get going over that, topping up again. Check that pole. And we'll get back to you in a minute, or in a bit, and give you an update. Well, I got another one on now. I literally come back, probably about 15 minutes after I had that pound skimmer. I've just put 3 red maggots on, and it literally hit the bottom. And I thought, oh, that's a little fish. I had it straight away, and I'm hoping it's another bream. It's a good fish. Obviously, I'm landing these on a top kit, and well, basically a top 5 of your pole. Oh yes, look at that thumping. Absolutely brilliant. Let me tell you, if you've never done this, get out and give it a go. I don't think you've ever become a fisherman until you've done this sort of fishing, personally. I know a lot of us now go straight into commercials. Oh yes. That 11 jaw is absolutely bang on. One, is driving the hook into the fish properly, and two, I think it's about right. At least you have, you've got a bit of play in action, and you can get them under control. That's a nice fish, that. The swan's having a look. Come on. Yes. That's what we want. Hey, look at that. Can just about get my hand round him. It's like fishing shearwater. That's good £4, that. That is beautiful fishing. Never going to come off. Absolutely great. Give it a proper, that is like proper, that. When you hook one, you just don't know what it's going to be. Could be like a big chub. Let's get back out there. Stop talking and get it back out there. 3 red maggots. That's weird, because I've just literally gone through with, I tried 2 little bits of worm. I thought I'll just put 3 red maggots on. And literally, probably just a bit of, just probably dropped it smack in the right area then. But that fish was the furthest one I've had. Literally, just like about a foot above the ground bait. And it just went in, settled, went down about 2 feet, and then just went straight under. But I did put 2 or 3 inches on as well, and that might have just helped. I've got to hold it back a little bit harder now, like that. That's on the bottom. Not going to give it long. I will top up again. I've now got to hold back a little bit harder because I'm dragging a bit more line. Absolutely beautiful. I thought I'll have, oh hello, where's this going? I thought I had one, about a pound and a half. And I thought, shall I top it? And I thought, no, I'll have another run through. Got to get that presentation. Oh hello, where's this one going? Get out of there. Get out. It's going for Zolt's legs. Come on. Oh, look at him. You can probably see him quite a way. You can see him miles down. It has got a tinge of colour in it, and I mean a tinge. That is absolutely fantastic to catch them on the pole. This is staying out in the river. Well, I'm going to call that the last fish of the day. It's just got nice fishing, honestly. Just odd, big, quality fish. You can see the worm stuck out of his chops. Decent sized dendra. Probably £2 that one. It's a great fish to finish this river video off with my good old mate Zolt. He's itching to have a go before we finish. It's getting on a bit, so I think it's probably taking 2 hours to actually get these fish settled down. But I hope you've enjoyed the video. I've certainly enjoyed the fishing. You never know from one day to the next on a river such as the River Avon what is going to happen. Luckily for us today, to show you people how to attack a river and catch fish like that, it's worked out. Come to the end of the session, and it started off a first hour, few little pommies, few little roach, few little perch, and then I've hooked my first sort of £2 skimmer stroke bream. And from then on, really, we have had a super day's fishing. I mean, we couldn't ask for better. I've put some in the net. I've also let some go as well, because obviously it is a 4 metre keep net, so you've got loads and loads of room. There's plenty of flow on the river today, even though it's been scorching hot. But I'm going to show you just some of the fish that we've caught. I've not even looked in here yet, but honestly, we've had, what's been so nice today is not just the quality of fish, the different sizes. So we've had bream up to, I reckon, £5 been the biggest. And then we've had skimmers, we've had a massive perch. Just look at that lot. Unfortunately, the water's a little bit colour, but honest to God, it don't get better than that. I reckon we've probably caught 70 to 80 pounds. It has been absolutely mega. Fed loads of ground bait. They're lovely fish. Look at them. All them skimmers as well. £1.5, £2, probably that £5. And that, look at that. Them sort of size fish, you don't see that often. It's just nice. They're absolutely fit as a fiddle. They are, straight into Zolt. So there you go. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I'm sure you'll pick up some great tips. It's been a fantastic day, like I said. We've fed loads of bait. We've gone through all that bait that I mixed up this morning. I've fed roughly about 1.5 pints of maggots. I've put in about 1/4 kilo to ½ kilo of worms and some dead maggots as well. But the most important thing was to keep topping up. I've actually topped up with 2 balls the size of the pot. And like I said, we've gone through spells where you might go 20 minutes, 25 minutes with a few small fish, and all of a sudden the small fish are gone and you think they're back again. And we had one sort of mega spell, I reckon it was about 2:30, 3 o'clock, half 3, where it's just got better and better, and we would have stayed on. But we've both got a house to go to. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for on the Preston YouTube channel for great more videos like this one. And thank you for watching. Well, we've got Zolt having a go. He's only hooked a unit on the river video. I'd love to do a bit of filming, but I don't really want to take the camera off because I'll probably drop it in the river. See if I can just scan round a bit. Look at this. Come on, Zolt, get him out. Don't lose him. Probably miles out of focus here. Oh, was it a skimmer?
Skimmer.
Just come back in, I think. Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Hello.
Don't you let him go in the lilies. Go on, Zolt. Yes, sir.
Come on, Bobby.
Look at that. Just had a few small fish, didn't we? And I said, hey, up, they're gone. Might be another breaming shot. Beautiful, that, Zolt. Well done, mate.
Fishing.